Space boffins, well, for them, definitely. The Philae space, the comet lander, has been found. The Rosetta spacecraft launched in 2004 before reaching Comet 67P, who comes up to these names in 2014, spent 2 years in orbit, and Philae has not been heard from since July 2015 after landing in a ditch. But now, cameras on board the Rosetta spacecraft have spotted the lander for the very first time since it crash landed into an icy crevice. As I say, it's always the last place that you look. But Sarah Cruddas is on the line. She's an astrophysicist and joins us here at Talk Radio.
Hello. How are you doing?
Very well indeed. Just on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are space boffins today?
Well, incredibly exciting. I would say, though, this is the last month of Rosetta's mission. So it landed on the comet, to give it its full name, Comet 67P Churyumov-Gerasimenko.
That's much better.
Quite a mouthful to say. It's named after the guys who actually discovered it. It landed on it back in 2014. Philae bounced, as you may remember, quite a lot of media coverage. It landed on the comet, the equivalent of landing a fly in the speeding bullet. 10-year journey across the solar system to get there. Incredible feat of technology. We had 60 hours of work from the little lander Philae, and then we couldn't find it. So scientists have been able to actually use Rosetta's camera, because Rosetta is still orbiting this comet as it goes around the sun, and they've managed to detect Philae in what is actually the last 4 months of Rosetta's mission, because on the 30th of September, all the science we've done, all the incredible achievements come to an end when the Rosetta lander is actually going to be crashed into the comet and reunited with Philae. So it's great that for a huge feat of engineering, which was described as Europe's Apollo moment in terms of how difficult it was, it's great that they've been able to locate the lander, which was a first for science, and to be able to find it and to now understand why we couldn't hear from it, because it turns out this 1 meter sized lander, it was about the size of a washing machine, is actually lying on its back with 2 of its legs stuck in the air, so they can't communicate with it. So we still don't know exactly where it is on the comet, but it's good to know that it's been found, and there's been some great science which has come from this mission. So exciting for scientists today.
Is this like a needle in a haystack? So a washing machine sized lander? How big is the comet it's been found on?
The comet is not very big, so it is almost the equivalent of a needle in a haystack. So imagine the size of a few tall buildings in London, and then you've got this washing machine sized lander. And actually, the comet is duck-shaped. It looks like a rubber duck, so it's made out of 2 comets, we think, which actually smashed together. So that was a surprise to scientists at the time. And it's got really rocky terrain and really hard terrain that we weren't expecting. So that was one of the reasons it was quite hard to find as well. So it's been an incredible achievement for scientists. But Rosetta's around 2.5 kilometres above the surface of the comet, taking pictures with a resolution on the camera of around 5 centimetres, so you can spot your iPhone pretty much. So it is, or other smartphones, of course, but it is a huge achievement in terms of finding it, and just in terms of what's next for scientists, because we've never landed on a comet before. We're only just scratching the surface of exploring the objects within our own solar system. We've got an asteroid return mission, which is launching this week, a NASA mission, which is going to go to an astronaut called Bennu. The mission's called OSIRIS-REx, and actually bring back a sample of an asteroid. So asteroids and comets are slightly different, but they're still very small objects in the solar system that we don't know that much about. So Rosetta was really the first in a series of new missions in terms of space exploration around our solar system, which are happening. So I think it's very fitting for all the team involved that we're able to locate the Philae lander, that there was such interest in this mission. It's helping us to piece together more about the solar system.
Well, indeed. I mean, an awfully large part of this was this rather sort of poignant message, this tweet that the lander sent back in July 2015. It's time for me to say goodbye. The unit on the Rosetta for communication with me will be switched off forever. I'm far from Earth and Sun. I'd love to take memories of you with me. Please send me a postcard from home. Now, this is a bit I don't understand. Who wrote that tweet?
That's someone back on Earth.
Okay, I've always thought that was weird. Yeah.
No. I think
like to keep up the magic, but I thought that was strange. Yes.
Well, have you seen one of the big successes from getting interest in the mission? These fantastic cartoons which explain the story of Rosetta and Philae the lander, which they've discovered, and it kind of gave them personalities, and then their Twitter accounts became very popular as well, and they would talk to each other. Obviously, that's someone at the European Space Agency back here on Earth in Germany who's actually operating those Twitter accounts. But I think with science, it's so important to explain why we're doing things, and actually adding personalities to the landers and to the probe itself actually helps to communicate that story, because it's vital to explain why science matters, why exploring further into the solar system can benefit life here on Earth, and then also the great blue sky stuff which can come for it in terms of finding out more about why we exist, why life exists on Earth, why there's water on Earth, and that's why we went to a comet, to help us begin to answer some of those questions. So, yes, it's kind of sad that the mission's going to come to an end and these characters won't obviously be able to tweet to each other anymore, but it's great as a way of communicating the story of why we're doing this.
Well, indeed, and again, we've been talking actually in recent weeks here on Talk Radio about these amazing sort of moves from these private firms who are trying to launch these missions to these asteroids and to comets to see if they can mine them and get some amazing, minerals and things which could have major developments for us in terms of energy, in terms of us of medical breakthroughs and the like, MRI scanners using these minerals and like. And although these are multi-billion-pound efforts, they thought that they may well pay off in terms of the trillions in the future, well worth the investment.
Well, absolutely. And actually what we're seeing, I work a lot in Silicon Valley with companies such as this. The Planetary Resources is one of the companies which is actually funded by James Cameron, who was the movie director who made the film Avatar, which is about mining on another planet in space. But actually there's enough wealth in the asteroid belt between the planets Mars and Jupiter to redefine wealth on Earth. On top of that, what we're doing is no different to anything we've done in exploration throughout history. We've always lived off the resources. So why do we think it's going to be any different in space? I mean, we know water is prevalent on the moon and on asteroids, and water is important not just for life, but also it's the key ingredients of rocket fuel, hydrogen and oxygen, which is what water consists of. So it makes it cheaper to launch from Earth because you can launch with less fuel, use an asteroid or the moon as a petrol station, so to speak, and then explore further into the solar system. I mean, we're entering an incredibly exciting time in terms of space exploration. I mean, it's comparable to how aviation was 100 years ago. And no one could imagine, we take for granted now that you can just jump on a plane and fly across to America, across the Atlantic. But it was only 89 years ago that Charles Lindbergh became the first person to do that solo. And you look at how much technology has changed, and we're really on the cusp of a new era in terms of space exploration. You could argue that the Apollo missions to land humans on the moon back in the 60s and early 70s were the Columbus moment, and compared with American history, we're now entering into the Mayflower moment in terms of exploration. So it's a really exciting time in terms of what private businesses can do, and it's no different to anything else we've done throughout history. So yes, it might seem like science fiction, the idea of mining asteroids or mining comets, but it makes sense. And if there's a case for business, it will drive forward the industry.
Absolutely. Oh, it's exciting stuff. It really is. Thank you so much for joining us, putting that all in context. Sarah Cruddas, astrophysicist there. Really appreciate you talking to us here at Talk Radio. Happy space boffins, my favourite people, other than people who insure their tongues on their taste buds on their tongues for £1 million, as a Cadbury's chocolate expert has done. We're going to talk about that later in the show. Plus the 98% of packed lunches at schools that are unhealthy. Sort it out, parents. This is Talk Radio.
Talk Radio, digital debate for the UK.
Talk Radio.
We'll get you talking.
5 for the 6 o'clock film, please.
That's £62, sir.
Bit steep? I'll tell you what. I'll give you £30. We'll skip the trailers and leave before the end.
It's still £62, sir.
What if I keep one eye shut?
At Ford, you don't need to negotiate because all of our deals are great deals. Such as the Ford Focus Titanium from only £199 per month on Ford Personal Lease. Visit Ford.co.uk and unlearn negotiation.
Advance rental of £4,776.35. Monthly rentals of £199 provided by ALD Automotive Limited. Subject to status, you will not own the car. Additional charges may apply subject to mileage and condition.
The best